Now we need to call to order the regular board meeting of the Park Commissioners, Lake Bluff Park District, December 14th, 2020. Marcia, roll call, please.
Commissioner Beeler?
Yes.
Commissioner Greenfield?
Here.
Commissioner Lane?
Here.
Commissioner McHenry?
Here.
Commissioner Walsh?
Here.
Commissioner Weber?
Here.
President Mossberger?
Here. Can I get a motion to approve the agenda, please?
So moved. Second.
Greenfield and Walsh. Okay.
Great. Roll call, Marcia?
Commissioner Beeler?
Yes.
Commissioner Greenfield?
Yes.
Commissioner Lane?
Yes.
Commissioner McHenry?
Yes.
Commissioner Walsh?
Yes.
Commissioner Weber?
Yes.
And President Mossberger?
Yes. All right, statement of visitors. I see a few folks I don't know. I don't know if any of them are visitors or if it's all park staff. Jim or John, you know?
We might have one if Kurt is on. But
I am.
Hi, my name is Ann Reeder. I'm a visitor. Thank you for
Hi,
having
how
me.
are you?
I'm well, thank you. How are you?
Great. Did you want to make a statement to the board
No.
before we get started?
No,
No.
I'm just here to
No.
listen. Thank you.
Okay, great. And how about John? There's a Brad.
I believe that's Brad Adams from the foundation.
Oh, hey Brad, if you're listening. Okay, great. So we will move on to verbal communications from staff. Started.
Okay, just briefly, we have our reports are in the packet, as you can see, and you go through those. Again, for us, it's been a lot of dealing with different situations that arise due to the the tier 3 mitigations, the COVID, the changing situation. So we are spending quite a bit of time here as staff, dealing and adjusting programs or facilities and just making sure that the staff are safe as well as our patrons that come in. So I think that, I listed a few other things in my report. I don't know if Jim or Noah, you have anything you want to touch on right now?
Not at this time.
The only thing I would touch on is that we're right now promoting a school for fitness with students, college students particularly. Last year we sold 29 passes. We are up to 37 passes right now at $99 a pass. We're anticipating selling another additional 10 to 15.
Wow. We finally found an age group that feels comfortable using the fitness center.
Oh, trust me, they feel comfortable. So yeah.
That's great. Nice work, Jim. All right, so moving on to Finance Committee update, correct? Yes.
The Finance Committee has not met since we last met. The committee members, Scott, of course, got the budget as I did, and the committee members. And I asked for any special comments they might have on the budget, and I have not received any. So I think we're okay with that.
Great. And is this a good time to share your news about a new hire? Or John, were you going to do that later?
Sure. I mean, I can touch on it now real quickly that, just the basic update is that we did make an offer on Friday to a candidate who has accepted the position today. It was our top candidate that we've interviewed. So I'm not able to share their name yet as we're waiting. They need to pass their background check and their drug screening, and then we can make it official and share it with the board. But the good news is that they've accepted it and we're moving forward. And if things work out, we'll have them on board by the end of the month.
Great.
And just to be clear, I don't know that you mentioned it, but this is for the finance position, correct?
Correct. Sorry. Yeah, superintendent of finance, or basically our business manager.
Great. And that lines up nicely because, Rich, this is your last meeting, correct?
That is correct.
Yeah.
Rich has been smiling all day.
Yeah.
When we've talked about this.
Well, in case we forget to say it later, thanks for all your good work and your help these last few months.
You're welcome.
Yeah, thank you, Rich.
Absolutely. Thank you, Rich.
Moving on to Parks and Beach. I know we had the special meeting to focus on the beach a couple weeks ago. Corey, anything in addition to what we discussed that night that you'd like to add?
Not much. Cliff and Jennifer and Noah and John and myself, we met at the beach last week to walk through the project and tweak a few things that, some suggestions Cliff had. And now he's working on the numbers and Jennifer, is there anything else we should add to that?
Well, I just read my email from John Beeler, thank you, who said that Cliff is going to turn in his plans by Wednesday, but we still look like we're on schedule for sending everything out for bidding. So let's gentle but constant pressure will get us there.
Yes, it takes a fair amount of that, I see, to keep it moving. But, as Cliff kind of described today, there was a lot they had to correct a lot of the base work, and, due to different factors, we're running a little bit. He expected to have it about 90% complete on the construction drawings at this point, and he's about 75 or 80. So he tells us by the end of the day on Wednesday, we'll be at 90% completion on the construction drawings for us to review and to also send on to George for his review.
So there will be some, as we discussed before, there's going to be some optional or some more of a wish list than a need.
Yeah, the alternates.
Yeah, some alternates. Thank you. That's a much better phrasing. So we'll have to see where everything falls in, but we'll see where it is on Wednesday.
And are we still on track, even with these delays, to meet the deadline to not lose the funds?
Well, the bidding's supposed to go out after the holiday. So yes, but it's going to be a really short, tight bidding schedule. But the conversation was that this will go to people that, there'll be some indication that the bidding will be going out, but these will be contractors that we will be able to accept a job knowing the time frame that it has to be done by May, but also knowing the parameters of the very short time frame for bidding.
Okay, great.
Yeah, a couple of the things he wants to change, we kind of stress that we don't really want to spend more money and we don't have the money to spend. And we think that if we remove a couple of the line items in there, for example, like the landscaping for $15,000, that we may be able to eliminate the landscaping like we did at Artesian Park and add some, I'll call it safety features or improvements to the existing plan. So it might be something we decide at the beach committee and don't bring to you that just kind of might make common sense for the plan. And as soon as we get the information, we'll share it with you, but we don't have it yet either. He just suggested some things.
Okay. All right, nice work there. Facilities and programs. There's Emily. We have not met since the last time this group got together. So anything I'm not aware of, Emily? No? Okay, you can stay muted then. Friends of Lake Bluff Parks. Jennifer, I know later that we are accepting your continued work with that group, which is great. But anything that you want to update us on?
I will just reach out to Jim and to John and see if there's anything new on the brick sales, because it sounds like those are the favored holiday gift.
Great. And if that is Brad Adams, is there anything that he wants to share about what's going on?
I haven't heard anything from him, but last I heard, we have about $11,000 raised so far. Am I correct on that, gentlemen?
Jeff, do you know where we're at this point?
Not a dollar amount, but I'd say we probably sold 111 bricks total with
Wow.
11 big ones, 8x8s for 250.
Wow.
Yeah, we're right around $14,000 right now on the
Wow.
bricks.
That's a
So
lot.
I know
Can
that
we advertise that a little bit more on maybe either Facebook or social media?
Yeah, well, I know the Friends Board has made it their charge to tell everybody that within their immediate circle, they're all saying they're gonna bring in a couple of folks. So I guess, you know, we too need to reach out to friends, family, and everybody else and say, yes, you want a brick for your Christmas or birthday or anniversary gift.
Is there a limit? I think I've asked this before, but can we also say like bricks are selling fast or anything like that to try to create a sense of urgency beyond Christmas?
No, because we'll keep it open until we're ready to start construction.
Okay, okay.
If we oversell, I think Bob Wallace said that we can put some bricks at his house. Little tribute to Bob. That's great. I have no idea what you all anticipated that we would sell in terms of bricks, but that seems like an awful lot to me.
I think the village did about double what we have, but again, we just started, so
Yeah.
it's a good number.
Commissioner comments, any comments from the group?
We're hoping that that money could go towards gate improvement, a
Sand.
better gate.
How about sand?
Oh, absolutely. And let's not forget that drinking fountain with the little thing that you fill up cups that I've asked for.
You should do that. Corey's drinking fountain.
Corey's drinking fountain. I think I've only asked for it maybe for 11 and a half years. So, I mean, what the heck?
Maybe you can put your brick by it.
You know
There
it,
you
girl.
Perfect. President's report. I do not have one, so we'll move on to minutes. Unless anyone has anything they'd like to see changed, if I could get a motion to approve the minutes from November 23rd and November 30th.
So moved.
In a second.
Second.
Roll call, Marcia?
Commissioner Bueller,
Yes,
Commissioner Greenfield,
Yes.
Commissioner Lane,
Yes.
Commissioner McHenry,
Yes.
Commissioner Welsh,
Yes.
Commissioner Weber,
Yes.
President Mossberger.
Yes. Consent agenda. Did anyone want to talk about any individual payments or line items there? I didn't see anything that stuck out. If not, if I could get a motion to approve the invoice schedule for the ACH payments for November of this year and the invoice schedule for the periods ending December 2nd, 8th, and 10th of this year.
So moved.
In a
Second.
second. Sorry, who was that?
McHenry?
Great. Roll call, Marcia?
Commissioner Bueller,
yes,
Commissioner Greenfield,
Yes.
Commissioner Lane,
Yes.
Commissioner McHenry,
Yes.
Commissioner Welsh,
Yes.
Commissioner Weber,
Yes.
President Mossberger.
Yes. Moving on to the financials, it was nice to see a little improvement versus our forecast from last month. That was nice. Anything else that Rich or staff wants to highlight in the financial report?
Well, the only thing I would want to highlight at this point in time is that, excuse me, as we're into the 15th day of December, we're still in line with the numbers that we've been talking about for our projections for year end. We did receive another tax payment in the amount of 60, I don't have the number right in front of me, 69,000 roughly. So that puts us at 98% receipt of our real estate taxes, which I think is also very, very positive for this year. So our numbers, I keep looking back to the projected numbers rather than the month of November, saying that we're still in line with where we feel that we'll be. The general fund is going to be better than we had projected, and while the recreation fund is going to be down, it is improving on a daily basis. So we're going to be better than the numbers you've seen in the past. So I'm very confident with that.
Great. Do you think that's it in terms of tax receipts, or are we expecting one more towards the end of the year?
We should, well, we won't get one more before the end of the year. We should get one early in January, which we will then put back to 2020.
Okay.
In years past, we haven't gotten that final payment till March, but I believe because of the situation that we're in, they will make a January payment.
Great. Anybody have any comments about the financial reports? All right, I did not have any specifics either. Can we get a motion to accept the month-to-date and year-to-date financial reports?
So moved.
Second,
Thank you. Roll call, Marcia?
Commissioner Beeler,
Yes.
Commissioner Greenfield,
Yes.
Commissioner Lane,
Yes.
Commissioner McKendry,
yes.
Commissioner Welsh,
Yes.
Commissioner Weber,
Yes.
President Mossberger.
Yes. All right, we need to ratify the purchase card payments. Again, I didn't see anything in there that stuck out. Did anybody else want to talk about anything in there? If not, if I could get a motion to ratify the purchase card payments.
So moved, Beeler.
Second.
Thank you. Roll call, Marcia?
Commissioner Beeler,
Yes.
Commissioner Greenfield,
Yes.
Commissioner Lane,
Yes.
Commissioner McKendry,
Yes.
Commissioner Welsh,
Yes.
Commissioner Weber,
Yes.
President Mossberger.
Yes. Sorry, I'm distracted by Nikki. Your model photo keeps popping up in and
Oh,
out
sorry.
from your horror film situation. I keep expecting somebody to come through the sunroof of your car.
Don't scare her.
I know, sorry. Okay, old business. We have the ordinance, and sorry, let me move ahead to that page.
Page 58.
Is there a specific wording that you need someone to motion, John?
There is on that in the memo on that page.
Okay, in that action and motion requested. So we won't make Nikki do that like she normally would have to since she's in her car, but if someone could make that motion, that would be great.
I'll do that. Move to approve ordinance 2020-G, an ordinance for the levy and assessment of taxes for the 2020 tax levy of the Lake Bluff Park District of Lake County, Illinois, in the amount of $3,302,870, which includes a CPI of 2.3%.
Thank you. A second by Scott.
Yes.
Great, thank you. Marcia, roll call, please.
Commissioner Beeler,
Yes.
Commissioner Greenfield,
Yes.
Commissioner Lane,
Yes.
Commissioner McKendry,
Yes.
Commissioner Welsh,
Yes.
Commissioner Weber,
Yes.
President Mossberger.
Yes. All right, on to new business. So we have the approval of the budget for 2021. Did Paul or John want to make any comments about kind of how things finished up?
I'll just jump in real quickly and then I'll let you go, Paul, if you have a bit more to say. I mean, since the last time that the board has reviewed this, I think we've incorporated the changes that the board and the finance committee had recommended at that point. So there's not, other than the narratives, I don't think there's a whole lot that's changed in this budget. Again, I think we've taken a pretty conservative approach and per that direction, we had budgeted under the tier 3 mitigation for the first 3 months and then phase 4 for the rest of the year. And again, we've also budgeted to delay the opening of the pool until July 1st. All of these can change as things, as things improve. And so we feel like it's, that it's still a pretty conservative approach. And I would, I want to thank the staff for a lot of hard work, of course, the finance committee and board members who've helped out, who's looked over this information and added to it. Once it's approved by the board, we'll be happy to print a final copy. Once it's, it's no longer draft, we have a final copy. We'll be able to print that and for any of the board members that are interested in having an actual paper copy, and we can distribute those. And the only small change that we'd like to incorporate that Noah and I talked about on Friday before the numbers were finalized, there was the parking lot here at the recreation center. The numbers came in kind of late from a contractor. Noah's been chasing around, but finally got a price out of them on Friday, where we wanted to reseal the older section of the parking lot that was not, it's not new asphalt that was done with the project. And so that's the area in front of the paddle and the circle in front of the recreation center. And so we have a price of about $6,000 to reseal and to restripe that, and it would look just a lot better. Right now it looks like we just did, about a half the job, and we left the other half undone. And I think that would, besides extending the life of the older asphalt, I think it's going to look a lot better. So we'd like to do that. And again, in just being fiscally responsible, we would wait until we're further into the fiscal year to make sure that we're starting to emerge and revenues are starting to come back before that would need to be done. But we would like to add that under, if the board approves, we'd like to add that under the small cap projects and park maintenance.
So that's an operating expense, not a capital project?
Yeah, so it would be, although we consider a small cap project, we went back and forth, whether it be a contractual, it's just kind of maintenance of the parking lot, but we thought it was basically a capital project, but it's under 10,000. So we'd make it a small cap project.
And I'm glad you brought up capital projects. Not having seen the final budget, where did the capital projects come in from a dollar amount standpoint, and what are those projects?
Let me just get to that page. So we have, it is page 20 of the budget that was sent as a separate attachment with the packet on Friday. And the first item is a professional planning that was increased to with the 19,000 the 19,600 from AECom for this project for the revetment. And then you have the Blair Court tennis courts for 20,000, West Park playground. These are all unchanged from the last time that we talked about this list, but it's the 45,000 for West Park playground equipment, the paddle of 40,000, and let's see, we had the Sunrise Park and Beach at 560,000. So that's the $350,000 grant, Secretary of State grant project with the entrance with Cliff Miller, along with the $230,000 revetment project. And what else do we have in here?
23,000 for the recreation center for the fire protection area, along with 10,000 for technology.
Okay, yeah, I think that's mislabeled. I think we have parking lot and sidewalk repair, but that's under recreation center. That's actually going to be the the sprinkler system upgrade. for 23,000. And then, you know, one of the things that we wanted to do for the capital, I think we might have touched on it earlier, but would do ideally to meet with the board in January or February to really review this list. Chris, I know that you've mentioned to me before, this hasn't been formally approved and adopted by the board, more of a longer term capital improvement plan. So we'd like to move forward with doing that in the next couple of months.
Yeah, I think what we have is a listing of items that need attention, but we've never agreed on a prioritization of that list. It's been more, we fix it when it needs fixing. But I'd really like to spend some time, whether it's at the board meeting or some special meeting at some point, kind of digging into those items for the next, 5 years is hard, but maybe the next 3 years, and prioritize those.
We do have a master plan that Ron had worked on that goes out 10 years, that really has just an incredible amount of detail and information in that. But you're right, it's something that we need to pare down and I think review with the board and tackle the first 3 years, and then maybe expand to 5 or whatever you'd like to, however you'd like to proceed with that. But yeah, I think we're definitely going to want to be reviewing that and start making some priorities and plans with that.
That sounds good. And I think the earlier in the year, the better on that. All right.
Okay.
Any other questions on the budget? I know Paul and Scott and their committee and staff have spent a lot of time on that already. So thank you all for all of your efforts. You've done a lot of the heavy lifting here, so thank you. Paul, anything that you want to add from the committee?
Well, I have a question, and then I have some comments which I think are important for us to go over relative to the 5-year projections, if not the 2021 budget. First of all, the tax revenue for next year, for 2021, is increased by about 3.5% over this year. And I'm just wondering why that, we get the 2.3% increase, but I'm wondering where the other 1.2% increase comes from.
Is it an increase to actual or an increase to budget?
Increase to projected fiscal year 2020.
I'm not sure, Rich, do you know where that extra increase is from?
I believe
it's 6 for the entity wide, so I'm not.
Yeah, I believe it's coming from the fact that there was a slight increase in the taxes. Plus, we took the 2.3 and the CPI, and we did use a percentage of that as we did last year. So that would, I can double check that tomorrow, Paul. I'm not but I'm confident those are the numbers.
Because the other increases later on aren't that great. In fact,
No,
tax.
we only use 1.02 increases from then going forward. That is correct.
Yeah.
So when you go to a budget or on aspect rate, nothing comes out of it right now.
And then in 2023, in fact, taxes go down by $46,000. So.
Yeah, try asking them one more and see.
That was my only question, to just, fine tune those numbers.
Computer.
Will do.
Yeah.
Yeah, the other issue that I had, and this is the first time, in fact, that we have seen the projections for the next 5 years. So we've been working with a budget that has been, we've been working on the 2021 budget, but have really not been focused on the projections for the next 5 years. And I question, and it's not relative to 2021, but it is very relevant for future years and for what capital projects we take on.
Hey, Paul, hold on one second. Hey, Brad, would you mind muting your phone? There's a lot of background noise.
And let have the acetone clean program continue.
Is that who that's coming from, guys?
I think so.
Possibly. You can mute him as host. Or
Who's
whoever's host.
Yeah, you should be able to hear the gun triggering about every 10 seconds.
Hey, Paul, while that's going on,
Every 10 seconds.
what numbers were you referring to there in your previous 2021 budget? I'm just trying to compare what we talked about in the draft versus actual.
If for the taxes, you mean?
Yeah, that extra whatever 1.2% that you were talking about.
Well, I'm looking at, for that, it's on page 6 of the budget.
Okay. Thanks.
Where it's the entity wide. So I'm not taking it apart as to which fund.
Yeah. Yeah. Are you looking at the revenue number or the expense number?
I'm looking at the revenue number.
Are you at 5.029 million? Is that what you're looking at?
Well, I'm looking at the top line at the taxes. The
Oh, the
3.2
taxes.
million.
3.210.
Yeah, versus the 3.1 million projected from this fiscal year.
Oh, okay.
And that ends up being about a 3.5% increase. So.
Gotcha.
I think if we look at page 9, for example, there's this concept that we would take money out of the general fund and the recreation funds and put them in, move them to the capital projects fund. And I know that had been the plan for the 2020 year prior to COVID hitting, where we were going to take $175,000 out of the general fund and $135,000 and put out of the rec fund and move those both to the capital projects fund. COVID hit, we got rid of those numbers for obvious reasons. But I think when we, and I'm trying to expand it so I can actually see what I'm talking about. Both in the general fund and the rec fund, I'm concerned because if you see the general fund on page 9, in 2024, our fund balance to yearly expenditures goes below 25%. And it actually goes to 17.5% in 2025. And you see we're taking money out of the general fund every year, starting in 2022. We're transferring out some $800,000 out of the general fund. And yet we're coming up below the 25% target for our balance as a percentage of expenditures. And if we go to the recreation fund on page 11, we have the same situation, but earlier we get in 2022, we have a goal of taking out $135,000, transferring out 2 capital projects, and yet our ratio is just under 19%. And then we take 235,000 out the year after that, and we're still below 25%. And I think, I don't see how we can allow ourselves to do it. We have this goal of having 25% balances to protect ourselves for whatever may occur. And we certainly had something occur this year, so we know it can happen. clearly we had hoped we would have a better financial result this year and a far better financial result in 2021. And we don't know what the result is going to be in 2021 at the end of the day. The second half of 2021 may end up looking a lot better than where we're budgeting for. And so it's going to be, months before we know anything about that. But I have a real issue with transferring money out to capital projects. I have an issue, the Park District has an issue, because if we go below that 25% ratio, we also end up paying more interest for any money that we borrow. So there's, number one, the practical side, to have money in reserve in case of emergencies, as well as to have a better credit rating so that we get a lower interest rate when we do borrow money. And I think we need to look at that. And like I say, it's not for next year. It's not for 2021. But I think we have to look at that. And I think the only responsible thing to do from a fiscal point of view is to reduce those transfers, those budgeted transfers, so that at least on paper, at least on the budget, but then always in practice to be at least at that 25% fund balance for those funds. And my final point is kind of surprising to me. And Rich, I have to, and it's in the same vein, because if you go to page on the budget, if you go to page 16, the debt service fund, we're looking at having substantial losses in the debt service fund starting in 2022, which is not such a substantial loss. But then when we get to 23, 24, 25, a couple, $200,000 to $300,000 in losses from the debt service fund, which I think we have to cover, don't we?
Well, by 2025, you'll be back to a positive balance. I think you can show I believe you can show the net fund balance at less, but that as long as you're headed in the right direction. Now, I'm not 100% positive on that one. I have to check into it, but we can. That's occurring from the aggressive repayment program of a couple of the loans that we have.
Well, but where do we get back to zero on that? I mean, I'm looking at ending fund balances. Okay, I mean, you're saying that from a change in fund balance, we're back.
Yeah, by 2025. I haven't done any calculation beyond that, Paul.
But then we have to cover that out. I mean, where do we cover that from? Where do we get those funds from?
From taxes.
But if we're in deficit,
well, by 2025, we'll be we will have a positive gain, and then I believe 2026, 2027 is the same way. So we would, over time, that does come back to zero, the fund balance. I don't know when that is. I'd have to do the calculation, but it's because we have very aggressive repayment programs over the next 3 to 5 years.
but the cash flow, we have to cover the cash flow out of the general fund.
Well, you are covering the cash flow. We can cover the cash flow based on what we've looked at so far.
Yeah, I mean, Paul, page 6, it kind of shows you that, right? Kind of in the middle of the page, cash flow for the general fund and the rec fund are, barring any COVID-like situation, are significantly positive, and it's more than enough to cover the debt service. And if you look at the ending fund balance, it's certainly trending in the correct direction. If we're talking about, 2021 or beyond 2021.
So it seems to me that we have a budget for 2021 that is in a form that we can approve. And we need to have some further conversations about kind of the direction we're headed in 2022 and beyond. Am I hearing that right, Paul?
Yeah, I mean, I think what we're looking at, and one of the things I think we have to take into account, we have, the special rec fund, it's where this money is coming from. Because the special rec fund is providing a lot of cash, but we can't access that. We can only access it for projects, for special rec projects.
Yeah, but pretty much every project we do has a ADA or special rec component to it. So it doesn't fund full projects, but it has over the years funded parts of different projects, including playgrounds and different access points. So, so we can get at those funds. But that's a levied amount, so that amount doesn't change.
That's a levied amount, right?
Yep. So should we have a motion to approve the 2021 budget as is? I understand those attachments and those numbers are in there, but I don't think, unless we defer this another month and have an interim discussion, we're not going to reach any consensus on those future years. But I do think it warrants a follow-up discussion.
And I agree. I mean, as I said, it doesn't affect the 2021 year, so it doesn't affect the 2021 budget. But
Okay.
It's something we have to look at and where the dollars really are and where we have to have the dollars and what that means for what we have going forward.
Yeah, and one of the challenges of fund accounting is trying to balance the accounting with the cash flow.
Right.
And that's not always easy. So I think spending some time at that might be a great project for the new guy when he comes in. But yeah, let's spend some time at that, whether that's at your committee level or whether that's more of a workshop kind of thing that the board works on. Either one of those works. But why don't we go ahead?
I think we can look at that, and I certainly think at the committee level we can look at that.
Yeah, I'm on board with that, Paul.
Okay, great. So why don't you guys start and then just pull us in as needed. And for tonight, why don't we go ahead and have someone motion to approve the 2021 budget?
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
Great. Finance Committee standing tall. Roll call, Marcia?
Commissioner
Chris?
Beal,
Could I just add one thing here? Is that it's approving the budget. If you agreed with what we were talking about earlier, with the addition of the 6,000 for the parking lot resealing. Was that okay to add that to the motion?
The way you said it was, we're going to spend that money if we kind of make that money.
Yes, we
So,
were going to put it.
that budget change.
We were talking about putting it in the budget, but not spending it unless we. That's what we were proposing, and not spending it if the revenues were not coming back and the programming and all of that. So. it's a smaller amount. We could probably do it as a variance.
Yeah, why don't we just leave it as is and we can address that later.
Okay.
One thing we've talked about in the past is when we were talking about golf should fund golf, paddle should fund paddle, preschool should pay for itself. What's that $40,000 for paddle again?
It's for a lot of resurfacing and stuff, Corey, but they do have a capital fund. So the paddle association will actually cover the majority, if not all of that, with funds that they've raised.
Oh, okay, that's good.
And what do we have, a $25 or $50 assessment each year?
75 for this year.
Sorry, Jim, thanks, 75. So we're also, setting funds aside, so to speak, each year by assessing the membership to help raise dollars for future improvements. So yeah, that's not all coming out of our pocket. In fact, I don't think much at all will come out of our pocket. It may just be a timing difference, Corey.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Paddle has also had some fundraisers too with clothing and things that have brought in, I know at least a couple $1,000s.
Great. All right, Marcia, we've got
Okay.
a motion, I believe, that was seconded.
Yes. Commissioner Beeler,
Yes.
Commissioner Greenfield,
Yes.
Commissioner Lane,
Yes.
Commissioner McHenry,
Yes,
Commissioner Walsh,
Yes.
Commissioner Weber,
Yes.
President Musburger.
Yes. All right, I know we talked about the committee of the whole meeting dates at the last meeting, so we definitely do not need to talk about those again today. But if we could get a motion to approve resolution 2020-C, setting the regular board and committee of the whole meeting dates for next year.
So moved.
And a second?
second,
Great. Marcia, roll call, please.
Commissioner McHenry, Commissioner Beeler,
Yes.
Commissioner Greenfield,
Yes.
Commissioner Lane,
Yes.
Commissioner McHenry,
yes,
Commissioner Walsh,
Yes.
Commissioner Weber,
Yes.
President Musburger.
Yes. All right, on to, what is this? Friends of Lake Bluff Parks trustee approval. So we have one trustee that works with them and then one staff member, right, John?
Correct. Yeah, and it was the same that we discussed at the last meeting, where Commissioner Beeler would still be the liaison from the board, and then you'd be appointing me as a trustee, as the director.
Great. Jennifer, thank you.
Happy to do it. This is a good thing.
So if I can get a motion to appoint Commissioner Beeler as a commissioner trustee and executive director Beeler as a staff trustee.
so moved, McHenry.
Second.
Roll call, Marcia.
Commissioner Beeler,
I'm allowed to vote on it? Yes.
sure. Commissioner Greenfield,
Yes.
Commissioner Lane,
Yes.
Commissioner McHenry,
Yes,
Commissioner Walsh,
Yes.
Commissioner Weber,
Yes.
President Musburger.
Yes. All right, now I'm putting two and two together, and I know who Kurt is, who's on the line as we move to the next item.
Correct.
Kurt, how do you pronounce your last name? Kalusik?
Kalusik, yeah.
Great.
And John,
John.
if you've been around for a while, you may know my dad, Tom, from the Rockford Park District and/or the Winnebago County Forest Preserve.
Oh, great.
Really?
It's in your blood.
Oh, is it in my blood? He's also one of the National Playground Safety Training people. So any of your staff that have been certified for playground safety have probably taken my dad's class at some point in time.
That's
Oh.
Noah.
Great.
Jim and Noah.
Yeah, you guys probably know him and or Ken Kutska. Those are kind of the two
Oh,
knuckleheads
yeah.
that seem to do it. So very good friends of the family. Well, Ken is. My dad's my dad.
Well, he's a friend too, probably.
He is a fantastic friend. I do thank you for kind of hearing me out here for a little bit. I just said, I grew up in a Parks and Rec family. I've been around everything, even discussing the pros and cons of playground safety and why there's no teeter-totters anymore, which is very interesting holiday talk amongst my dad. I've also been really involved with water sports. Learned how to windsurf when I was 9. I've got enough days to get my 100-ton masters. I don't know if any of you are boaters, but I was shore crew, delivery crew for the Volvo 70 Il Mostro here in the Great Lakes. And then first mate on White Hawk, the 105-foot Bermudan ketch, designed by Bruce King, probably better known for the picnic boat, but that Hinckley makes. It's in my blood. I just can't get away from it. My grandfather had graduated from Naval Station Great Lakes, and my wife is currently a CRNA at Naval Station Great Lakes. It was actually while visiting my dad down in Florida that I noticed lifeguard chairs are a little bit different. Well, I've also started a little company where I believe that celebrating a life and a mindset where shoes are optional is important, and I happen to call it the Tan-Foot Lifestyle. So I have, I don't know, 3/4 of the state of Florida taken and a vast majority of Lake Bluff. And I'm kind of sitting on these photos and I'm thinking, man, those storms kind of destroyed some lake shore, the high water marks. Why not do something kind of fun to raise money? And so I'm kind of approaching the group tonight in the way of, let me back up. I want to do that, but I don't personally want to take the tax refunds. I want to be able to say whoever is going to purchase these should get the benefit of going through the Friends of Lake Bluff for the tax write-off rather than me. So that's kind of where my head is and why I had originally reached out. I forget who I cold called at the Park District, who then gave me Brad's information, who then filled me in with the hiring of John and some other stuff. So here I am just kind of saying, I've got a photo and I don't know if I can share it with you guys of the lifeguard chair. But the idea is, 89% of the funding comes from 10 to 20% of the population. Knowing that, playing it super conservative, I'm only looking to attract 2.5% of the population, or around 150 prints of this, which splitting it half-half could bring in anywhere, depending upon, price, anywhere between $5,600 to Friends of the Park, up to, just under 20 grand, with the idea that maybe it could become a series of 3. So kind of over the next 3 years, go, all right, well, here's the first series, here's the second series, here's the third series. Being in parks, being an Eagle Scout, you want to give back. And so that's where it's like, well, how do I do this and allow those that want to purchase the prints to get the tax benefits rather than just me? And I don't know how to do that, which is why I reached out to Friends of the Park. So here I am. And if I can share my screen in some way, I'll actually show you the photo. I don't know if I can or not, but we'll see.
I'm not sure how that works on Zoom.
You have to make him a co-host?
Kurt, what's the best way of trying to find some of your stuff online?
Yeah, so if you go to jhans.com, that's actually, you see that paddleboard up there? That's a hand-built wooden stand-up paddleboard with custom inlaid wood. John Hans is the name of the company, which is actually named after my grandfather. So that's where it all kind of started. I'll post a photo, and or I can shoot a note off to John and or Brad with a photo of the lifeguard chair. Let me see if I can do this. Hold on.
Yeah, if you can send it now, I might be able to forward that on the chat. Oh, there you go.
So yeah, those are the boards, but let me see if I can turn this around. That won't work. I'll email it real quick.
That'd be great. So, I'll speak for some of the others. I certainly appreciate your lifetime in sports and beach
Yeah.
and district, and your passion and your energy and willingness to be creative and come up with a really novel idea and a way to potentially help the park district. So thank you for all of that. To me, the rest of it are details that can be worked out, you know, with some smart people like Brad and Jennifer and, you know, and John Beeler. So
Sure.
it doesn't sound like anything that you're talking about is insurmountable. It's just how best to structure the payments and make sure that you get your fair share in the right way for what you're contributing. So
You got it.
but again, I mean, I don't see why as a group we wouldn't want to involve you. And hopefully this can be the first of a few different series of prints that you develop. You know, we've got a big park district with a lot of different amenities, and you know, this could just be the start of things. So
Totally. It could be really cool. Who should I email this to? John Beeler? Can I email it to you? All right,
yes,
I'm sending it along to you. The
that'd
idea
be
is that
you can forward it to us.
perfect. It'll be the photo, and then John, I'll also send you a the first series would be just a black and white print, relief print. So I would take a lino block and I would actually carve it in reverse, print it off, and print on some heavyweight paper. Not screen printing or anything like that. So each one would be a little bit individual, with again a limited run of 150, knowing of what conditions are economically and everything else, and then knowing how park districts make money. Yeah, I just thought it could be really cool. So I definitely appreciate the opportunity to make that happen.
And where would you be selling them? All online through different sources? Would you set up a display somewhere, maybe at the rec center or some other facilities in town?
Yeah, I think that there's some cool things that we could do. Probably online, whether it's directly through either the Friends website or the Lake Bluff Park District website. I think that may be more beneficial, especially if we set it up so that those purchasing the prints can get the tax write-offs. Because then the method just seems like it goes one way, where if it doesn't work that way, then I could host it on my website or something like that. But I think that could just become a little bit more complicated. Yeah, online, a couple of the coffee shops up there. I know John, I can't remember the name of the coffee shop that's in the alley right now, but his name's John as well. Cool guy, he sails. He totally gets it. Yeah, I mean, just kind of some cool things.
Great.
Totally.
Anyone else with any questions or comments for Kurt?
Kurt, this is Corey. Hi, Kurt.
Hey.
Kurt, one other idea, if people, I saw that I was looking at your website and you have t-shirts and stuff, but if you had a t-shirt with maybe the picture on the back and you had it in a variety of fun, fun colors, and it said Lake Bluff Beach, you probably could sell t-shirts, bumper stickers, and make them expensive, because it's just another way to donate towards the beach.
Yep.
And I'm sure those coffee shops would, Vade at B Market, you could ask them if they would sell them. I'm sure they would all be willing to, because I've heard over the years, people have said, I wish there was more stuff with Lake Bluff on it, or Lake Bluff Beach. And I wish we had bumper stickers. Like, I know that Lake Bluff Village bumper sticker, about 2 weeks ago, somebody asked me if I could get them one. So if you turn this stuff into more than just that photo or that picture, I think you could really help us out.
I agree. A couple years ago, I had actually run a couple of Lake Forest one at Kittles in downtown Lake Forest, and we went through a couple rounds of that. And there's actually a lot more than just this. I've got trademarks in hard goods, soft goods, and beer for the 10-foot lifestyle. I've been working with a coffee brewer to come up with a whole different brewing thing. This is just kind of the tip of the iceberg, but I think it's a great way to give back to the communities for which we live in and around.
It's great.
Yeah, again, thank you very much and appreciate you taking a few minutes tonight to talk about
Sure.
it. And, look forward to figuring out a way to move this forward. Again, I don't think anything that you're talking about is an insurmountable hurdle. So,
Yep.
Maybe I think you're going to email if you haven't already to John, and then maybe you and John can talk about the next steps of,
Perfect.
kind of setting up the logistics of it.
Perfect. Well, again, I appreciate the opportunity. John, I'll send you a couple more emails as well, other than the one photo. And if there's any questions, by all means, please reach out.
Great. Thanks, Kurt.
Chris, do we have to do a motion to approve so you can move forward?
Yes.
Oh, we do. Okay. Yeah, Kurt, so you better stay on so you can see if we like your idea or not. So
No worries.
Can I get a motion, please, to approve moving ahead with Kurt on the project of the
So moved.
a second?
Second.
Thanks, Nikki. Marcia, roll call?
Commissioner Bueller,
Yes.
Commissioner Greenfield,
Yes.
Commissioner Lane,
Yes.
Commissioner McHenry,
Yes.
Commissioner Walsh,
Yes.
Commissioner Weber,
Yes.
President Mossberger.
Yes. All right, Kurt, you're officially approved. So now we just got details. So
I appreciate it. Now I just have to figure out how to give Jeff the power of the Zoom back, and then I think we'll be good to go. So thank you much.
You have to turn the host. Yeah,
Kurt,
you have to
thank
turn the
you.
host.
And again, you and John connect and kind of work through details.
Perfect. Thank you much.
Excellent. Thank you. All right. So I think, John, is that it for
D?
this meeting? So do we need to adjourn this and then move into executive session?
Did
That
you
is correct.
Did you skip D? Was there anything you wanted to talk about on D under new business?
On page 80, that's way back on page 1 again. Struggling with my technology.
D.
Hold on. What's D?
D under new business, just above Kurt. I think
I didn't see it. You know what? There wasn't a page dedicated to that. So Sunrise Park and Beach entrance project. I think Corey already gave that update, right?
Yeah, that
Yeah.
really was
Nothing
discussed
more.
under the committee.
Okay.
Marcia, great catch, but you're foiled once again. All right. So now,
I can read the thing for executive session.
Wait, I don't have the executive session information. I don't see that on the website, on my link. Where is that?
I think it came through as a separate email.
Yeah.
Right after the packet with the regular board meeting stuff came, Dawn sent another email.
All right.
If you can't find it, just text me and I'll send you the meeting ID.
Okay. I don't see it, so I'll text you.
I'll text it to you. All right, Nikki, you said you're going to read it?
Yep. So I move we move into executive session for the discussion of the meetings lawfully closed under the Open Meetings Act, whether for purposes of approval by the district of the minutes or semi-annual review of the minutes as mandated by section 2.06 per 5 ILCS 120-2C21.
Excellent. Thank you.
Second.
Add.
Oh, wait, sorry. So do we need to approve or roll call?
Roll call.
Yes.
Oh, we do. Sorry. Go ahead, Marcia.
Go ahead.
Commissioner Bueller,
Yes.
Commissioner Greenfield,
Yes.
Commissioner Lane,
Yes.
Commissioner McHenry,
Yes.
Commissioner Walsh,
Yes.
Commissioner Weber,
Yes.
and President Mossberger.
Yes. So we
Motion
need, so hold on. We need a motion to approve the resolution 2020-D release of closed session minutes.
So moved.
Second, McHenry?
Thank you. Marcia, roll call?
Commissioner Bueller,
Yes.
Commissioner Greenfield,
Yes.
Commissioner Lane,
Yes.
Commissioner McHenry,
Yes.
Commissioner Walsh.
Yes.
Commissioner Weber, and President Mossberger.
Yes. All right, I think now we can adjourn with a motion.
Motion to adjourn.
Great. A second?
Second, McHenry?
Great. Marcia, is that still roll call?
Yes. Commissioner Bueller,
Yes.
Commissioner Greenfield,
Yes.
Commissioner Lane,
Yes.
Commissioner McHenry,
Yes.
Commissioner Walsh. Yes. Commissioner Weber, no. President Mossberger.
Yes. All right, nice work, everyone.